What I'm about to share is heartbreaking, to say the least, and it changed my life in a way that I can't expect anyone to understand. But it has to start this way, so you can at least understand why I was chosen to speak this evening. When I lost my beautiful son, Jake, my light was extinguished, and my heart broken to the point I wasn't sure what was going to happen to me. But I have learned over time that in sharing my feelings, there is healing and helping others through my story. I make a choice every day to live in the light, because if darkness is cold, it's lonely, scary, and I don't want to be there. Jake doesn't want me to live there. If I'm living in the dark, I can't be a light for someone else. For me, life is about the choices we make. It's about living a life full of love, service, and finding joy in my everyday. I have a belief system where I need to show up, I need to take action, and help others the best that I possibly can. And when I say the best I can, it might not be the best all the time, or in the way that others think it should be, but I only can do what I know is my best. I have found that for me to build my confidence, to share what I live every day, I have to rely on my constant faith in my spiritual connection, and most importantly, under God's guidance. I feel His presence in everything that I do. I feel Jake's presence in ways I can't fully explain, but Jake surrounds me. I have a constant reel going on in my mind saying I am safe, loved, and guided. Now, don't get me wrong, I struggle every day. My sadness is heavy because I live a life without the most important boy who is now 25 in heaven. So there are days I don't fully show up, though I try, and when I'm too hard on myself, I offer myself the grace to get through those moments. Or sometimes it can be in an entire day where I struggle with living without my son and just want to run and hide. I want to run from the pain, I want to run from the work that needs to be done, I want to run just to escape. But I know the choices I make every day have an impact on so many others. I make a decision every day that I need to do my best to show up and help others. And everyone has a story. If you met me and had no idea what my story is, you would never know I lost a child. I choose to find the joy when and where I can, and be there for others amongst my greatest loss. You will be surprised when you offer grace to yourself when things are difficult or you mess up, but also offer that same grace to others for the same reason. Your life will change in so many ways. It builds day by day, and some days the building of it takes a break, only to return the next day to continue the life you are building. If I don't like my thoughts, which happens quite often, because I'm so hard on myself, I do my best to change them. I figure out a way to step forward. I choose to look for the good. I choose to be open-minded, and I choose to offer grace to myself and others. Everything we do in life comes down to a choice and our responses. 2 days after Jake's teammates and classmates lost him, they played in that Friday night football game against Maryville, and they chanted "Play for Jake." Other teams throughout the region chanted those words because they felt the pain for our community. The outpouring of love and support from my community and surrounding communities helped me through such a time I didn't know what to do with myself. I knew people cared, and that meant a lot. When the coach asked me my feelings about playing that night, without a second thought, I said if they can and they want to, they should. For me, I wanted those boys and everyone else to be together. We are to be here in this world to help others, and if having that game played that night helped them, then that's what needed to be done. As a family, we had to find something to do to keep another family from feeling the pain and sorrow that my family feels to this day. I attended a heart screening in Chicago and learned how to do EKGs and perform them on high school students. One of the hardest things I had to do, I just lost my son, and seeing these young men lying on the tables, all I could see was Jake. And it took everything in me to keep my composure. But when I left that day, I knew exactly what needed to be done. So the start of 2014, we became a nonprofit organization where we go to the schools to provide free heart screenings for school-age children. Jake passed every sport and school physical. no signs or symptoms of anything being wrong with his heart. He was vibrant and healthy, and then one day I have him here to love, and the next day he's gone. If you take anything away tonight from what I'm saying, this is why it's so important that everyone discusses their heart health with their doctors and become an advocate for themselves and for their children. Because the heart screenings we do save lives. So the changes that broke my heart forever changed me, but also the changes that happened after we lost Jake changed me forever as well. I can't bring Jake back, because if I could, I would not be standing here tonight. I would have traded my life in a heartbeat to have him here. But I wake up every day making a choice on how to best navigate my life. I feel called to share my story and carry my message. I believe we are here to be of service, to extend love, and to be a powerful energy in whatever form that comes from our own experiences. I have learned over the years what an impact my son has made on so many and continues to do so. I want to live the rest of my life with intention, purpose, and helping others. So the following story I want to share, without a doubt, was a gift given which I cherish and hold very close to my heart. I hope this story touches you in a way that will forever change you. I hope you will stop and always remember this message when you respond to everyone that you know and meet. I share this with you to know that our last exchange with Jake ended with I love yous to each other. I left early that morning for work, and the kids and I always said I love you to each other, but especially when we parted. And I was leaving the house that morning, and there was one final I love you up to the upstairs to Jake, and off to work I went. We normally don't get to see our kids between school and their activities. Jake texted me that Wednesday morning about getting together with some of his football buddies after practice to get some food. I say, of course, and went about my day teaching and received another text message letting me know that he didn't have enough money on him to go down and have dinner afterwards. I said, sure. I just happened to be coming through town and will meet you at Kiwanisville before practice. I remember pulling around with the passenger side door facing the stadium. I remember exactly what he was wearing. I remember his big smile walking up to my car. And I remember him leaning in the window saying, hey Mama, that's what he always called me. We talked for a quick minute or two, and before he heads in to get dressed for practice, he says, thanks Mama, I love you, and I say it back. I can't imagine the additional layer of grief and heartache that I would feel and carry if I didn't have my last exchange with him be one of love. This is why it's so important to part from everyone with love and kindness, or at the very least, the least said is the least mended, which I also learned from my mother. Sometimes it's best to say nothing than the words that will hurt someone. We don't know what will happen at any given moment. Within hours, I received a call that Jake collapsed, and not knowing any details, I arrived at Kiwanisville. I remember running through the practice field as fast as I could to get to the ambulance. I couldn't get to him physically, they wouldn't let me. I had to know he was okay. I stood up on the front bumper of the ambulance trying to see him. I had to let him know his mama was there. I prayed that he knew. After the officer rushed me to the hospital, I remember trying to hold my son's hand in the emergency room while they worked on him, and the officer and my husband had pulled me back. I remember being pulled away from him many times as I screamed in agony. I remember begging God and the doctors to save his life, and I remember not wanting to leave the hospital floor as I was exhausted and in shock. I don't want to leave without my son. I remember all those heart-wrenching emotions that I had learned to tuck away deep down to protect myself. And that's just a glimpse of what happened to me the first day of my life that changed me forever. So my hope is that when you leave here tonight, that you realize you have a choice in everything you do, in every decision you make, and how you show up for yourself and others. I measure myself to myself. I do not compare myself to anyone else. The day we all take responsibility for what has happened to us and what will happen to us will be the day you will start controlling what actually happens to you. It's a perspective I choose to live by. It's not always easy, but no one promised me life would be easy and without heartache. I thought my son would outlive me, and he should have, but I have no control over what happened. But I do have control over how I decide to live. I think all the time, what would Jake want me to do? And if you knew Jake, he lived from a place of love, kindness, and a giving heart. I don't want to let him down. And as long as I walk this earth, which my time is limited, I plan to do my best to be the light in other people's lives, live peacefully, find the joy in my everyday, and do my best to add value to the people I meet. So ask yourself, what brings you peace? What brings you joy? And what can you do to lift others up? Whether it's a friend, a family member, or a complete stranger, we all have a story, like or unlike our own. But we need to remember, we all put our pants on one leg at a time. So when you leave here tonight, go out and make someone smile, treat them like you want to be treated, and in return, it will come back to you tenfold. So I don't live in worry or fear. I hand it over because I know I don't have control of what happens to me. I only have control over how I respond. Even on my hard days, I know there are better days ahead. I work through those hard days, and I had one yesterday, but today is a new day. I want to live a self-led life, a life of service, a life of love and peace, a life that Jake and Courtney would be proud of. I know one day, without a doubt, I will be with my son again. It will be forever. There'll be no more pain, no more tears. So in the meantime, my purpose in life is to share what I have learned through my experiences, through my pain, and through my joy. I mentioned earlier what runs through my mind at times that helps me with my everyday, and that is I'm safe, I'm loved, and I'm guided. So think about what you say to yourself and say to yourself over and over again, and live every moment the best